better, better life.
Addressed quote-unquote conspiracy theories. I have to say this because it's true.
Yeah.
For me, I am sorry. It just is. But the good news
Let's make it real. This is a better life. From scars to stars, from pain to bulletproof. Teresa, better life.
Plus, later on in the show, it's Knives
A better life with you.
Trending right now because he has officially
Talking news, pop culture life, love and scandal, heart to heart. Teresa, better life.
worldwide.
Real is where the reset starts. No playing small. We rise, we fall. We laugh, we do it all. A better life is one brave call. Teresa, better life. Let's build a better life. Let's build a better life. A better life. Teresa, better life.
You guys. Now, I wasn't sure about Erika. I was waiting kind of a situation for her to be in, obviously, having lost her husband, becoming the CEO and the chairman of a company. It's just a lot of transition, and it's nice to wait for more information before you prejudge or just assume, make an assumption about somebody, and it maybe is not based in reality. Well, we are getting a lot more of Erika Kirk this week. I'll tell you that because she has been doing the rounds in the media really over the last couple of weeks. And she just gave an interview live with Harris Faulkner on Fox News, where she finally addressed the quote unquote conspiracy theories. And I have to say this because it's true, but it completely missed the mark. For me, I am sorry, it just has. But the good news is that she is now unmurkying the water in terms of her intentions with this massive political organization. That's good news, truly, because we knew Charlie, and now we are getting an opportunity to know Erika. Plus, later on in the show, it's Knives Out for Tucker Carlson. As always, he's trending right now because he has officially waded into the who killed Charlie Kirk narrative. And since he is not a bought and paid for Fed, he is siding with not just the American people worldwide. And he says that he's not buying the official narrative. And there are some lingering questions. And he confirms what I told you about the Egyptian planes. So let's jump right back into this. Welcome back to Candace. Patient, I do tend to focus on the evidence that's in front of us. Obviously, asking questions when we come up across something that someone has said and it doesn't add up, or if they lied, create a list. And you guys were coming after me because I was saying, look, we can write into our imaginations how Erika is thinking or how she's feeling or what she should be wearing, but she hasn't actually said anything yet, right? That was my stance. She hasn't actually said anything yet. Give her a chance, okay? And now she is making the rounds in the press because Charlie's book, his posthumous book, is coming out about the Sabbath. And she's speaking about the quote unquote conspiracies as she sits down with a lot of these news anchors. So first and foremost, she's sitting down here with Harris Faulkner. And I just want to show you a couple of clips from this sit down, which is now trending. And she begins by addressing the question, which has been in the air, regarding where Charlie Kirk is buried. That question resurfaced this week in a big way because Milo Yiannopoulos and a few others have asserted with absolute certainty that Charlie has not yet been buried. That's what they're saying. They say they have proof of that. And at first, Harris Faulkner is asking about that claim. Take a listen.
Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing, that this is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that, but this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
Okay, so on its face, I actually agree with that. I think that when people are being buried and where they're being buried and how their funerals are done, that is very private matter. Okay, so objectively, I agree with what she's saying. Okay, but subjectively, because we are dealing with the subject of Erika Kirk and what transpired immediately following Charlie's assassination, this is going to be read as Meghan Markle syndrome, okay? Meghan Markle syndrome, where you want privacy when you want it, but you want publicity whenever you want it, and that just doesn't work, okay? It doesn't work that way. I honestly think it was said best by Bethany Frankel, not related to this situation. Bethany Frankel is on Real Housewives, a show, a reality show. And she was referring to one of the housewives who lived her life very publicly, showcased her marriage, was buying tons of Louis Vuitton bags, and they had tons of money. And then when their relationship soured, the housewife basically asked the public for privacy. And Bethany was like, no, this isn't how it works. Like, we were riding with you on the way up, we're riding with you on the way out. You don't get to like pick and choose when you want privacy and when you don't want privacy. And subjectively, as it, in the matter of Erika Kirk, this is the same person who had somebody record her over Charlie Kirk's casket. That was not our business, truly. And I can say that decision was made by her. And there is, some credence to the claim that everybody grieves differently. I wouldn't even record myself over a casket ever, okay? Some people maybe perhaps want to have that memory. But the decision to publish that, you crying over your husband's casket, and to publish his dead body on Instagram was a decision that was made by Erika. And we can watch that. Take a look.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
That is an incredibly personal and an incredibly intimate moment that you invited the public into. Okay, there was no reason to do that outside of wanting to share something that was very private with the public. And now you fast forward 3 months removed, and it's why does the public want to know where he's buried? It doesn't work like that. You have to make a decision. I want this always to be private, or I want this always to be public. That's my personal feedback there. Later on in this same interview, she launches into a strong defense of Turning Point USA employees who have, just as a matter of fact, told many lies, many inconsistencies. These are verifiable. So they are.
Okay, so some people believe that Charlie's not dead, right? And that the pictures of his hands aren't his hands because they're, smaller because of the angle and all of that. So anyways, I had made a comment. I was on mute, but I made a comment about that there are some people who believe that.
Currently lying to the public, or they have lied to the public, but she is going to deliver quite an impassioned defense regarding these particular individuals and the organization as a whole. And I want you to hear her passion. Take a listen.
What are they taking from you right now?
Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall And the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole. Whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
I'm sorry, but that whole thing right there is frustrating. And I'm going to explain to you why I just do not accept any of that. First and foremost, the idea that she does not have time. Okay, she definitely has time, okay? She's done Hannity, she's done The Five, she's done Fox and Friends, she's done Outnumbered, she's done Megyn Kelly Live, she sat down with the New York Times. She made time, by the way, in case you don't remember, to fly to DC for Sergio Gore to be sworn into the ambassador to India, as the ambassador to India, which feels kind of obscure and not necessarily related to Turning Point USA affairs, building affairs, or whatever it is. But sure, that's fine. I mean, obviously, you're also allowed to be a person if that's the homie and that's what you want to do, sure. But we are indeed speaking about a coast-to-coast flight to stand up next to somebody and basically say, Charlie loved you. That was like the whatever 15-second speech that she gave, right? Here's actually, we have a clip of that speech that she gave.
Well, he was also very good friends with a guy named Charlie. We just knew him as Charlie. And his wife, who we love so much, is here with us. And maybe, you know how close they were together. Maybe, Erika, you could say a couple of words, please.
Of course she can.
Charlie loved you. It's hard not to get emotional because I know that he would have been the first phone call when he found out that you were going to be taking this position. And the way that I was able to witness the two of you work together for years and to champion and support the president was absolutely humbling to witness. And I am so proud of you. And Charlie is going to be with you every single day in spirit. And I will be praying for you every day because I know that this is just the beginning of an incredible opportunity for you. And sir, thank you for allowing Sergio to have this beautiful moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dorothy.
That's just an ambassador to India swearing in ceremony. Again, if that's your friend and you want to be there, that makes sense. She's also a person,
Bless you,
and she can
Sergio.
decide what she wants to do there. But the point that I am making is that's a coastal flight that she made to be there to watch a paper get signed. She has also made time for an upcoming CBS News town hall sit down with Barry Weiss, which was filmed today. So Erika Kirk has time. She has time. It is just what she means to say, not her priority, which is you are allowed to prioritize things in your own life. But this is not a matter of time constraint. It is not her priority to respond to the majority, actually. The majority of people think of this as BS. The majority of people think Turning Point is acting suspicious. And she does not feel that it is what she wants to do as a matter of priority, responding. Okay, that's fine. Now, to that point that people are making hundreds and thousands of dollars, I just don't get how there's not someone on this very large PR team, as we're seeing these PR campaigns go out, that doesn't go, hey, maybe we should strike that. They made $40 $40 million like 2 nights ago at Mar-a-Lago. Maybe that feels kind of a little bit like let them eat cake-ish. Oh, and we've made more than, separately from Mar-a-Lago, Turning Point USA, since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know, this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago the other night. So since Charlie has died, that organization has taken in $140 million. But gosh darn you people that are making hundreds of dollars every day on YouTube talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the BS narrative that is being fed and the very obvious psychological operation that is being employed to make you accept the BS that they are trying to sell to us. Gosh darn you. Did you make $1,000 today? Speaking about Charlie Kirk, well, you should be ashamed of yourself, says Turning Point USA, who in large part made that money because of those very people who gave to the organization immediately following Charlie Kirk's assassination. And the thing that is defending a pedophile or trying to like launder the reputation of that's fam. That's the CK show fam. Oh, I'm sorry. We are actually pointing to the fact that we know for certain that this person in your organization is a sexual deviant. That's fam. That is my, don't you get me upset. I know that this is a now $150 million in the last 3-month organization and we employ tons of people, but you can't critique. You can't critique the fam. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to be very clear here. This is why there are many people who do not believe that women are equipped to lead companies, because what you are watching here is an unbelievably emotional response that is absent of any logic, okay? If you really care about your team, answer the questions, okay? Just demystify the entire event. Answer, come out, sit down, answer the questions so people don't think Turning Point USA looks so suspicious. Don't try to like mom the organization and say, well, mother's upset because people are coming after her kids and all of this multi-million-dollar subsidiaries. That's my children, okay? The multi-million-dollar subsidiaries, Turning Point, like Turning Point Action, all that, those are my kids. So you can't critique them.
Right. And that's what I felt like she treated Candace. They treated Candace like a bad child. They were reprimanding her when they gave her 24 hours notice, when they told her it's got to be this way or no way. To me, that was them acting like parents. Erika, she's calling the shots. Make no mistake. Erika is calling the shots, and she always has been. But her tactic isn't working, and so she's getting angry. Just like we see all the creators, they're getting angrier and angrier because their tactics aren't working. The same way a lot of the administration does right now. Anyways, and Candace is right, 100%.
Not a good idea. Okay, it may work in PR world. You guys, I know how it's an obvious PR campaign. It's never been more obvious of a psychological operation. I actually wish they would put me on payroll so I could help them make these things look more organic than having every single person that has been telling us to stop asking questions all make the exact same video within 4 seconds of each other, being like, whoa, Erika Kirk shuts down the No, she didn't even respond to one of the conspiracies. She gave us emotion. She said, I'm a mother, I am a wife, and we never asked about whether she was mother or wife. We want to know if she is a CEO and a chairman. And a CEO and a chairman has to compartmentalize. A CEO and a chairman cannot respond to valid questions and critiques about finances, about shady actions that are being taken by people that require presidential pardons, people that are meaningfully asking why we are not getting a clear answer of what took place on September 10th. A CEO, okay, does not get to respond and say, that's my family. Okay, that's the energy of what I would expect from a mother speaking to a teacher, which I was this mom, like that's my kid, okay? And I'll shut this down right now. That's my child. This is not a child. Turning Point USA is an organization, And Erika already had an uphill battle to climb, like that she had to climb this because, by the way, just because if this was Goldman Sachs and the president of Goldman Sachs or managing director over at Goldman Sachs died in a horrifically violent way, the Goldman Sachs family might mourn for a couple of months, but they would have instantly had someone to replace that individual. And beyond that, they would have never accepted the public and the people that are investing money. They would have never accepted, well, he's gone, but here's his wife. She already had a hill to climb here, right? Like, this does not make you qualified because you love someone to take on their job. I am not qualified to do what my husband does. That's why I said I wouldn't want to be the CEO and the chairman of a company. Actually, there's a great clip of Jordan Peterson asking that very question, like, why do women want to be? Like, why would you want to have? It's actually a lot of work and it's very stressful and it's a lot of numbers and you're crunching numbers and you have to be everywhere. Okay. If you want that, great. If you built the company and you're in the room like Charlie Kirk did, and you have proven to the public, like, hey, I built this company. I didn't even go to college and I've been doing this for over a decade as Charlie Kirk did. You've earned that street cred. Okay. So she already had a hill to climb because now they're saying, well, this is his wife. And so, that's it. Well, now you're going to have to prove that you have the ability to be a CEO and a chairman and not just a wife who we expect emotion from. And you're rightful in that capacity. You are rightful to have emotion. You are rightful to be the aggrieved widow, but you don't get to just be widowed into the position of chairman and CEO. You don't get to respond to, well, in this case, investors, donors who have given money and are asking meaningful questions.
That, and then play the I'm a grieving widow card. You can't have it both ways. You can't, in or out.
With no, you don't get replies right now because this is the Charlie Kirk show, fam. Doesn't work this way, okay? And the broader point removed from Erika, which a lot of these mockingbird influencers seem to be making, is essentially they're saying to us that scientific inquiry and investigation in and of itself is now patently wrong, right? Essentially, we should just trust the state. Don't believe your own instincts. Don't believe your own eyes. Don't ask any questions. And I really want to stress to you guys how utterly ridiculous that logic is, right? Because if we followed that logic in any other situation, there would never be a crime solved ever, okay? If we just ascribe to the idea that scientific investigation is on its face wrong,
yes,
it would not work. I'll give you a crappy analogy here, but imagine if there's like some young mother and she dies suddenly in the middle of the night, presumably in the middle of the night, and her husband is the first one to report it in the morning, and the cops show up who happen to be his buddies. They get there, and then they dramatically close the case in 48 hours, and neighbors are like, wait a minute. Excuse me, officers. Actually, you might want to know some other facts here about this guy. Like, he's in the mafia. These people would be like, how dare you question the people closest to, he loved her. That's his wife. Being a gang member is not evidence. Why are you saying he's a gang member? It's not evidence. And you get another nosy neighbor who produces evidence that in the middle of the night before she died, they saw the guy outside, the husband outside, removing cameras in the front yard. That's not evidence. Yeah, but I saw him go out in the middle. He put something in his car in the trunk. He was looking shady. That's not evidence. How dare you find that to be suspicious? More nosy neighbors start discussing, and they were like, hey, we heard them. They were having actually a heated argument before she was found dead. I think it was about money. All of a sudden, the next thing you know, you got Allie Stuckey from the HOA. She blasts out an email and she says, it's unbiblical. It's unbiblical to gossip. Hearing an argument is not hard evidence. You have no right to discuss it. Yeah, we're the nosy neighbors, okay? We put together a list of 20 verifiable lies that have been told in the weeks following this sudden death event.
I'm a nosy neighbor.
Yeah, we have some questions.
Not really.
So we're not going to accept Tim Pool
But here I am.
jumping on the airwaves with big estrogen energy telling us we're evil because we have like school board elections next Thursday. We're the nosy neighbors. We don't care about the elections coming up. We want to know whether or not we are in bed with people who are capable of murder, people that are capable of covering up murders. Actually, we, the nosy neighbors, feel a little bit less safe in this neighborhood until we know whether or not there are some psychopathic killers in our midst. How about that? That's how I feel. I think that's how a lot of people feel right now. So I want to express that. And this psychological campaign filled with emotional manipulation and how dare you, and the aggrieved widow speaks, and so you're not allowed to question a $150 million organization. No, I reject it. I reject that 100%. Which is why I will say it has arrived as a blast of fresh air that on this very same day, Tucker Carlson is standing up to the nonsense. He's not speaking about Erika, obviously. He is friends with Erika. But just the nonsense of what the FBI is saying, he's wading in and saying, yeah, the FBI is not being clear in what happened. And I have questions because, and I think it feels like a blast of fresh air, because and I know many people at home, are seeing all of these people that we followed and we thought that they were heroes. And suddenly this assassination has exposed them all to be frauds. Like for the right price, they will join Operation Mockingbird. For me personally, that is how I feel, okay? Like people in the military that I thought were forthright, people that were journalists that I thought were forthright. I just am so let down. And I don't think I would have been able to handle if Tucker Carlson was among those people. You need hard evidence. As if the killer's going to walk in and be like, okay, here's how I did it, okay? I'm going to give you the hard evidence. I was here, there. Like, what?
Well, he did. He sent a text to his
Instead,
lover.
Tucker Carlson is coming out and he is blasting the corporate and the Fed narrative with common sense. He joined Theo Von, and here is what he had to say. Take a listen.
I don't understand the official
This is
story
good.
at all.
Of his assassination, you mean?
I don't understand it, and I want to make sure that there is a truly rigorous and honest federal investigation of it, and I'm definitely concerned about that. A, B, I think that I don't know many of the details, but I know that recently Candace said that Egyptian registered aircraft were following Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, around for a number of years in different places in the world. That's one of the weirdest things I've ever heard, and I just want to say that is factually true. That's true. So that's like the one data point that I happen to know is true. What does that mean? I have literally no idea. I can't even guess, but that's very, very strange.
And what is Egyptian? It could mean aircrafts from Egypt. Who knows?
I think that they were registered in Egypt.
Got it.
And but that fact is true. So and it also her claim that, there were kind of a disproportionately large number of foreign registered cell phones at the event. That's also true. So what does that add up to? I don't know, but it means that, the FBI has a moral and legal obligation to look in every direction and to be open-minded, as you would in any investigation, in journalism, in science. It's all the same process. I don't know the answer, and I'm going to sift through everything as open-mindedly as I can, as honestly as I can, to get to what the truth is. That's science, that's law enforcement, that's journalism. It's all the same. That's justice. And I just want to make sure that is happening. And I just don't have a ton of confidence in the FBI or the men who run it. And I'm not saying that out of ignorance at all.
That's a scary part too.
I'm not alleging anything. I'm just saying
No.
I think it's really important that we have that.
That is what authenticity sounds like. And that's what we're doing here. We are investigating, right? Sometimes you get something wrong, you correct it. But I was right about the Egyptian planes. And when you hear Tucker Carlson say that he is confirming that part is true, what I take from that, Tucker Carlson has been very clear. He grew up with CIA agents, okay? This is a guy who grew up in Virginia. His father, he learned after his father died, he thought he was just working with the CIA. No, his father was on the payroll of the CIA. So Tucker's friends are in the state. So you should take it as a concrete fact that there's something up with these Egyptian planes, and they were in fact following around Charlie, and they were following around Erika, as I told you. And that means people in the NSA, the CIA, are confirming that is real. And yet, just last week, what we got from Blake Neff, and I know he's untouchable, he's in the fam, but I'm going to go ahead and touch that and say, like, this is not okay, the vibe is not right, is making a mockery of it. That is what we mean when we say none of this is passing the vibe check with Turning Point USA. There's no clear answers. There's mockery, there's laughter, but there's no clear answers. And the mockery and the laughter is not working. Neither are is this idea that, well, now the widow has spoken. We're not dealing with the widow. We want the CEO and the chairman of Turning Point USA to answer. Okay? If you can't compartmentalize, then I don't see how you're going to be able to lead this organization in the future, because Charlie worked. We knew who Charlie was because he was authentic. Okay? He didn't just go, well, I only make time for like big pocket donors. Okay? He was sitting college campuses. He was speaking to people, understanding people. He was changing his ideas and he was changing minds. And you are not changing my mind about the fact that something weird happened that day and that TPUSA is acting funny because you give it an impassioned plea and speak about Nehemiah on Fox News. Okay? None of it makes any sense. Anyways, Tucker then goes on and states the obvious predicament further, which is that we just don't have any faith in the government. Take a listen to him discussing some of these lingering questions.
Here's what I am concerned about. A lot of things. One, he acted alone. Tell me how that worked. I don't, none of us really act alone.
It's hard to go anywhere by yourself, too.
Thank you. Exactly. You acted totally alone. Okay. You're going to have to prove that to me. It's totally possible. Anything is possible. Weird things have happened. We'll continue to. But that's not my default assumption, and it shouldn't be yours. And their default assumption was we acted alone. Really? Why do you think that? What about life suggests that people typically act alone? When was the last time you acted alone in anything? I don't go, right? So A. B, we know that people had foreknowledge of this because they posted about it on X and said Charlie Kirk is going to be killed on this date, and he was.
Is that true?
Yes, it's true.
But were they just guessing? Was it a guessing thing where every day?
Like,
Charlie himself.
Maybe. Have those people been interviewed? Have they been hauled into FBI HQ and had a long conversation with how they knew that? Like, let's get really specific. Why did you post that? Who have you talked to? Like, if I were doing this investigation, because I spent my whole life doing non-criminal investigations called journalism, like, what do we know is true? How do we find out? Call everybody, be open-minded. It's like it's the same process. If I was doing this investigation, they would be at the very top of the list. Tell me how this guy who seemed normal became a radical trans furry murderer. It's not enough to tell me, oh, trans. I'm not pro-trans, by the way.
But was that the guy or his boyfriend?
Well, exactly right. Tell me how this guy became so radicalized that he murdered a stranger. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I want an explanation for how it happened. Why wouldn't I?
I agree.
Oh, we can't talk about that because it'll, prejudice the jury pool. Really, you've told the world that you have both a confession from him in his text to his boyfriend and the murder weapon with his fingerprints on it. I think you got a pretty solid case. So why is it so difficult to just explain? So I have said from the beginning, if you don't like what Candace Owens is saying, why don't you call her and offer a more plausible explanation for what happened? Oh, she's bad. She's bad. Okay. I mean, I like her a lot. I don't think she's bad, but
she's
I
not.
love her actually. But let's just stipulate she's bad. But why wouldn't you do that? Because
I don't agree with some of the stuff that the rabbit hole she goes down, but I don't
even know.
But I like the fact that she likes to dig in the garden,
Theo, we are in this garden, okay? And we're not getting out of this garden with the Fed slop narrative. We're just not getting out of the garden with trying to emotionally manipulate us and say it's not. This feels like COVID, right? It's not like COVID-19. It's like Candace 19. It's another fake. It's a
virus.
Fake virus. Like, oh, you got infected. You just can't do it. 6 feet social distancing from Candace Owens.
Well, Erika Kirk did call it a mental virus, a mind virus that, that we're asking questions. We're insisting on answers. We're not taking no for an answer. She said it's a virus.
We're going to get every influencer on social media. 6 feet social distancing. Save lives. What are you, a grandma killer? What, you just don't like him? What? And then Tim's all fired up. She's a C word. People are going to die if you don't get this vaccine. And I'm like, I feel like maybe the government's not telling us the truth. We're right back to that, but it's Candace 19. It's Candace 19. That's what it is. And they think that it maybe if they put the little 6 feet social distancing pads in the grocery store, that the PSYOP will win and make us believe that this is like common sense is the virus. I'm the common sense virus. It's coming around. It's so evil.
I've heard that's
Stay
going
at home,
around.
wear a mask, save lives. You don't want to catch it. You don't want to catch the common sense, you guys. You don't want to catch it. Anyways, I dare. I'm sorry, I dare. And I have been very careful because I wasn't sure what direction she was going to go. If she was like, I was like, look, she's got a whole business that she's got to figure out. There's a lot of people in her ear. Maybe they like did this transition too quickly and she's just like keeping her head like, no, what she's saying is Turning Point USA is untouchable. And
She is.
it's a no from me, but you know me. I'm just out here saying what needs to be said. We'll be right back after a brief message from our sponsors. All right, you guys, when they double down on abortion,
Okay. Do you get the feeling Candace isn't going to stop? That was the question. That was mine. Okay. So I've been waiting for Erika to do this. I didn't think she'd do it like this, but she said stop. She didn't show the whole video, but yeah, she said stop. She asked everyone to stop. Just be quiet. They need to. Okay, so here's the thing. America is swinging left, and they are desperate, and they're like, Erika, save us, aka TPUSA, save us. We can't have America going left. You have to shut everybody up. You have to be the voice, and you have to come out swinging because they're swinging left. I don't think Candace is going to stop. And why doesn't Erika talk to her? And Erika doesn't ever even say Candace's name. I want to know what is behind that, because it seems like there might be some bad blood we don't know about. Like they were friends. Like Candace was there when her and Charlie met. She went to the wedding. Like, what's going on? Not a single call, nothing. Why? Is Erika jealous of Candace? Like, I know that seems a little bit petty, but she's sitting there. He's my husband. He's mine. I don't know, but there's some other than the obvious that we feel is obvious. She's hiding from Candace. That's what it seems like. And she's hiding from all of us. And she's playing the grieving widow card. She wants to be CEO and grieving widow. But it's a very different look. Okay, Candace is back.
crazy. Okay, I'm worried. You trust the influencers. You know, people over in the chat say we need some Candace 19 merch. Yeah. Don't go Max, get the Vax. That's what Mark is saying. We're gonna get some gear for you guys. Don't go Max, get the Vax. That's the vibe right now. How many influencers is it going to take to get everyone to roll up their sleeves and not go Max? That's where we're at right now. How many people do you have to send out to tell them? Please do it. Wild. Okay. I didn't get the vax. I didn't get the COVID-19 vax. I'm not getting whatever the heck this is. Okay. Which is honestly on its face, federal stupidity is what it is. Now, I can also tell you that because my mommy sleuths, they're so fast before stuff even ends. I get tips about things. And Erika literally today sat down with Barry Weiss. It's been marketed all over. They're going to have this big sit down, a conversation moderated by Barry. It's going to feature voices from across the political spectrum. They're going to talk about grief. And I got this email after, and it's interesting. I got actually a couple of emails, but I'm going to read this one to you because it was a town hall-ish event. Here's what they said went down. This person writes, I just came from the CVS. By the way, whoever wrote this email, I love you. I just love all the mommy sleuths that are this quick. They wrote, I just came from the CVS Times Erika Kirk town hall, and this is what she said about the conspiracies and Candace. 1, Erika said she was pregnant when the Egyptian planes were flying and following her, so she wasn't on them. She said she has photo proof. Huh? I'm sorry. Did I ever accuse Erika of being on Egyptian planes? When I found the Egyptian planes, I was concerned that they were following Charlie because I thought, wow, has there been a foreign government that has been tracking his events? Like maybe, I don't know, like running through the operation early, and then we broadened it when someone clued us into the fact that actually these planes have been following Erika. You just heard Carlson confirm that. I thought she'd be concerned. Instead, she's gonna tell us on Saturday that she wasn't on the planes. I never said you were on the planes. Why would I think you were on the Egyptian planes? I don't like. Well, that would be. I don't think that you took off and went to Wilmington, Delaware. I know you didn't go to Wilmington, Delaware on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. I find that answer to be lacking. Okay. That is weird to me. It's a weird answer to give. And by the way, you can fly when you're pregnant. Even if you were on the Egyptian, that's a possibility when you're pregnant. So I don't understand that part at all. 2, when Barry asked her about the conspiracies and what she had to say to those saying them, Erika said, stop. No. 3, not about Candace, but she talked about Israel and said good things about Jews and how TPUSA is having Shabbat dinner. No, I didn't read that before we went live at AmFest. Okay. Okay. You guys, I want you to know, in addition to the fact that Charlie, in the last couple of days, wanted people to know that Mikey is fantastic and supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and he had this whole vision, and that Rob McCoy was his favorite pastor, and that you should buy Josh Hammer's book. He also wants you to know to just be a Jew. I think we get it.
Shabbat shalom.
We get it. Those were his last words. Okay. We get it. Just like, okay.
Whatever that means.
Anyways, moving on from that. I want to say to the 39 bajillion of you who were in the military who emailed us to let me know that I misspoke yesterday. Okay, I even said to you ahead of time. I said, I don't know military vernacular. I don't know these terms. It's like another language. And you guys are not aware of yourselves. Okay, so you critiqued me for saying E4, E3 when I should have said 06. I'm jotting down these notes. I'm having a conversation. I'm trying to fact check things. And for me, I was focusing on the timeline of where he was. I was like getting all of the proof from our military guy who was there for this meeting on September 9th and it's also on September 8th as well. And I misspeak, okay? Because you guys basically speak Japanese. You don't realize you do, but you do. You speak Japanese. And I said E4, E3, and I went back and I checked the notes, and actually he said 06s. Thank you. Thank you for your 26 billion emails to let me know that I don't know ish about the military, okay? It was a human error. I made it very clear that I am ignorant when it comes to military. I will own that. And so please just be nice to me sometimes, where it's a lot of information, a lot of researching. And I just wanted to confirm he said he was where he said he was and take those notes. But no, he did not. He was very clear. I checked the notes that he has said 06. I think I made the mistake when I transferred my notes because he said colonels or captains. Then I Googled it and then I edited it thinking that maybe I heard him wrong. It was over a 1-hour phone call. Anyways, regarding him, for those of you guys that emailed us, I told you, you can trust that we are not just taking a thumbs up from someone. There's a lot of research that goes into all of these things. And we were able to confirm everything he said was real. He gave us his card that he swiped onto the base. And now, because you guys sent so many emails and actually people who were on that base in Arizona, the Huachuca base in Arizona, adding further credence to his claim is we've been able to since verify 2 more things from other people that are currently stationed there.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I should tell you, we have a positive ID on Captain Neff. He was not sure what Captain Neff's first name was. It was, in fact, Adam Neff, and I'm sure captains have different names, but Adam Neff of the 10th Mountain Division is the individual. I sent picture options to him as your emails were coming in, and then someone said Adam Neff. I sent it. And he confirmed that that is the correct person.
Which
there
one?
were several, obviously, but
Adam
Neff was leading the interrogation of him. And it checks out because that is the division from New York. Also, we have now confirmed, and this is exciting because we got a lot of emails going, oh, like if this was really this like meeting, people wouldn't have known it was taking place. They would have used a empty building or something like that. Well, guess what? We have confirmed from people currently stationed on the base that JTF is indeed using a building. I'm not going to name the building. I know the exact one because I don't want to, accidentally violate national security. But effectively, they are borrowing a building. So it's effectively unmarked in that sense. And that building has been turned into, please forgive me I get this wrong, but I'm reading it direct from the email, SCIF, which stands for a sensitive compartmented information facility. Okay. So they have since added barbed wire around that facility for additional security. Cell phones and other electronics are not allowed. This is where he saw the meeting, by the way, unless they are government issued. They are not allowed in that building. and it requires top clearance to be granted access into that building. Again, we have now verified this outside of this individual who was definitively telling the truth. He sent me so much documentation that it was like I could have showed you everything. I mean, his old passport, his new passport, his military ID card, hotels, it's books, times, text messages, phone call logs with his wife. It just really is a circumstance that this man has either the worst or the best luck ever when it comes to him sort of stumbling upon
Yeah.
military operations, right? First, he finds this cartel tunnel when he's 20. Now we fast forward, he's 56, and he
That's
just
wild.
was getting some coffee, and someone's like, "Here, actually, yeah, no, that's the old boys are getting back together in this unmarked building," and he stumbles in there. It also
Yeah. Should we question? That is odd. Did you guys see yesterday's episode? Okay, we'll talk about it in a minute.
by the way, does provide an explanation for why they panicked when he just walked in there, because they were like, he should not have known that this building was here. They didn't buy his excuse. It's 7 hours later, they allowed him to leave, or Captain Neff allowed him to leave. Now, we can also give you some more information that gets really interesting, okay? Remember, Harry who told me that seeing that many, I hope it's 06. Is it 06? Do not email me, okay? He said it is not common unless, and he specifically said, there were some high-ranking congressional member or someone close to the president, like the vice president. Well, we received another tip that makes things especially compelling. So I'm going to just read you this email in its entirety. We have fact-checked it. It is true. Trust us to fact-check stuff, by the way, guys. We would not just randomly be like, thumbs up. We're just going to go with that. This person
I believe
writes,
that 100%.
I just wanted to bring to your attention that on September 8th, that's when he says that he saw some funny business, 2025, a U.S. government plane, a special air mission plane, caught my eye. This is what I found about that particular plane that is based out of Andrews Air Force Base, shown as Camp Springs below. U.S. Air Force C-37A Gulfstream Gulfstream 5 is a VIP jet, part of a unit that caters to senior members of the executive branch and Congress. Plane number is 99-0404, as you'll see on the screenshot below. On September 7th, the plane flew from Andrews to Colorado Springs. On September 8th, it flew from Colorado Springs to Tucson. Then, 5 hours later, from Tucson, and then the transponder appears to be turned off. However, at 12:31 p.m. on September 9th, it flies from Fort Huachuca to El Paso, and then El Paso back to St. Andrews. Now, why is that interesting? Okay, because that means the timeline that he gave us is exactly right. This meeting took place early in the morning. I think it was 7:37 where all this happened, and then he said he assumed it was like a high-ranking congressional person or somebody that potentially could be in the cabinet. This guy is saying that's what that plane is used for, and he also brings in El Paso. Remember, El Paso, Texas, is where all those weird flights were coming from on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. So that is extremely compelling. And like I said, having spoken to this individual who is planning to come out and do podcasts and speak about that, he's trying to figure it out, which I'm going to help him with this weekend to figure out whose show he can go on and speak more. It's lining up. Like this is actually tracking. I had a sense when I spoke to him that his memory could be trusted. Okay. He was very forthright. He was very honest. I mean, he was so honest that he was like, when I said, oh, is it maybe this Captain Neff? He was like, ma'am, like I don't want to give you any information that's wrong. I would put that at about maybe 60 to 65% that it could be this person, until I gave him
the photos,
the correct Neff. And he was like 100%. That's the guy that questioned me. So I trust him. And by the way, his heart exploded when I told him about all the emails of people that were in the military currently that were very moved by his story, people who have had the experience of doing the right thing in the military and being treated as though they did something wrong for doing their job and serving the American people. Everybody knows there's corruption everywhere, especially at the top. And to all the service members that sent those emails, I want you to know that he said he was close to tears, and he was just on his knees, him and his wife, just thanking God. because they never thought their story was ever going to come out about what happened to him when he was 20. And that is just something that is really, that's why I said there's so much God in this, because like he either has the best or worst luck, but he just happens to be
At
in the wrong place,
the wrong
at the
place
right
at the
time,
right time.
maybe in the right place at the wrong time. Who knows? History will tell us. Continuing the rest of that email from the person who gave us that tip about this plane, he concludes it by saying, "This is the only time that I have noticed that this plane was in Fort Huachuca. If your contact that you mentioned yesterday saw this group of men in the morning, it could line up well with what this aircraft leaving at 11:43 a.m. on the 9th. From other searches I've done, it appears that Pam Bondi flew on this plane approximately 5 months ago from Tampa area back to DC. I am looking into other flights. Please be safe and God bless. Guys, we have a clue. And we should keep going with that. I don't know. When he contacted me, it was the way I told you. It went about me praying and then suddenly I get this email. And I speak to him, and he's like so credible and just gives everything. I think we need to keep prodding this narrative of what happened and what he said that he saw, and he described it as a meeting that when the operation is being finalized, a finalization meeting. And he seems like he knows what he's speaking about. So that's what I have for you guys today. Oh, wait, there's also something else about that plane. I got to bring in Mark to mansplain it. I'll just bring you on, Mark.
We have the
I'm not even
mansplainer.
gonna tee you up there. Just come on.
Thank you. Thank you. Great introduction. So I was looking at the logs for that flight, and the flights in question are towards the center of the screen. You can see it goes from Tucson. The transponder goes dark. That's what that dash means there. But what really stood out to me were the call signs, which are basically the fourth column from the left. So you can see it's using RCH, which is reach. That's a standard Air Force call sign designator. But when someone important is on the plane, it switches their call sign to SAM, which stands, as you said, for Special Air Mission, which is typically reserved for people like the vice president, cabinet secretaries, senior officials of the executive branch, congressional delegations, and other senior political leaders. So what that tells me is the call sign from Tucson to Fort Huachuca is a standard reach. Everything before that is as well. But once it gets to Fort Huachuca and takes off, it switches to SAM. So that tells me they picked up someone of that stature in Fort Huachuca. And then just to avoid confusion, the Venus call sign is just when the plane is empty, doesn't have anyone on it.
It's actually very, very helpful. And I think, like I said, there's something here. There is definitely something here. And I do believe that God put that man again. He has the worst luck. Our guy, Harry, has the worst luck down, or the best luck down in Fort Huachuca. But
I'm getting chills again.
I'm certainly glad he was there. So you'll definitely be hearing from him directly. I would assume next week. I'm going to help him figure things out. He's like, I don't know how to work these podcasts and computers and how to get my message out there. We will definitely assist. We'll take a brief break and come back after some sponsors. All right, you guys, want to tell.
Wow. So stick around if you can at the end, because I want to show you something. I uploaded it to the computer here because I want to show you this, because I don't think this is a coincidence either, what I'm going to show you. And it's about what I've been talking about, what I talked about yesterday about the pastors, the 1,000 pastors that were sent to Israel for training and the plans and the goals. Everything's lining up. I think I've been saying, and in some of my replies to some of the creators that are going ballistic online, I feel like, God's saying no more, no more. And as much as we have so many different things going on, major things, and we're shaking loose the rocks and we're pulling out some of the beams that have been holding this structure together, it's going to topple. And I think they're terrified. I think obviously they've got to be scrambling and terrified. Training in Israel. Yes. If you didn't see yesterday's, I have played a video. It's from Redacted News, and it's got the flyer about this whole training for a week. They sent 1,000 pastors from the United States over there for training. And I'll play this video for you afterwards and we'll talk about it. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. And with all the creators that are signaling in the same way, getting really loud, this is a tactic. People use the nice tactic and they call you, a little bit names, but then when it doesn't go their way, they get really loud and they get really violent with their words, which we saw from Tim Pool yesterday. And we're seeing more of that come out from Erika, which they've asked her to do, obviously, and I'm sure she wants to. Like I said, in I think a broadcast last week, she wants to be used. She wants to be used in this way. It's pretty obvious. And you had said it, Cisco Terrace, earlier. It's a role she's been preparing for a long time for. I believe that 100%. Okay, here's Candace.
I love that it is so faithful. And, we're always talking about biblical characters, but nobody want to address Jesus. Remember, he was betrayed. The story might be relevant. We're going to be out here acting like it's a conspiracy. Yeah, it was a conspiracy when Judas betrayed him. And it was for money. Like, that might be a relevant narrative when you're out here, like, trying to make it seem like it's never happened in the history of the world. It has happened. And yeah, I don't know. He was denied. He was denied, just as he said. So I want to just be clear that it is, of course, plausible. It is very plausible. Is more than plausible that when a company grows that size, there are people that become motivated by things that are not just truth and justice and things that feel sparkly and sprinkly and like make you feel good on the inside. Okay. The reality is life is ugly. Okay. Many people have to deal with deceit and dishonesty the bigger they get. And we heard that from Charlie's own mouth, what he was going through. Okay. I wouldn't have guessed his last words were effectively as if we're all getting the vibes here, like, just like go be a Jew. But I don't know. I feel like he was under pressure actually from a lot of his Jewish quote unquote friends
and his wife.
There hasn't even been any honesty provided from Turning Point USA in that regard. It's like we're getting no honesty at all.
Not from Erika.
And I'm wondering why, because this feels like a very poorly run PR show. Anyways, you guys, if you would like to support our independent work, you can head to CandaceOwens.com and buy some merch. I promise you we will get you Candace 19 merch because that's amazing, actually. That's what's happening. Okay, we're right back there. And we will tell you not to go max and to instead get the vax. And hopefully you will listen to us because we are the government and we can always be trusted. We are the government. We can always be trusted here at CandaceOwens.com. You guys can also purchase my book, which we're going to get into a little bit more about tomorrow. The backstory of feminism is so much darker than most people understand. MakeHimASandwich.com if you'd like to buy it from us directly. You can also head to Amazon now, throw it in your cart. And we are now also shipping to Canada. MakeHimASandwich.com. Okay, let's get to some of your comments before the influencers come out and tell you it's evil after that Fox News hit for us to say, actually, I still have questions. They do. The top comment from yesterday is they want us to believe that Charlie's neck was made of steel and the Twin Towers were made of neck bones.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
we're
a
at that
good
stage
one.
of psychological operation. That's it. None of it's making sense. That is so well put. It is upside down land. Laughing Cats Music World writes, and thank you, by the way, that's a massive donation. Vital to separate flaws from race. We can criticize corrupt Jews without blanket anti-Semitism. Critiquing George Floyd because he died of fentanyl in the hospital isn't hating black people. Stop equating criticism of Israel, Soros, etc., with Jew-hating or self-hating if you're Jewish and critical of all governments, including Israel. Most people are not racist. And then this person is making the joke, maybe Blake Neff. I didn't look into the Blake Neff thing or why he left Fox News because I'm just more interested in his military connections because that caught me by surprise. But you are absolutely on the money. Obviously, we can criticize people and this sort of cheap tactic of being like, oh, well, it's kind of the same thing we're talking about. It's emotional manipulation. It's like, whoa, oh,
Yes.
what are you saying? And it's like, no, there is corruption everywhere. And you are not removed from corruption because of who you work for, what you look like, what sex you are.
You're
It is
not
always
immune.
plausible and actually highly plausible, typically when money is involved. Lulu Mallory writes, the more I watch, the more fake and gay things are. We all have been given the light of Christ to discern truth from lies. Candace speaks truth. Go Max, Candace. Charlie deserves nothing less. You are correct. And I don't trust the feds. And I don't believe that that is a sufficient enough answer that, well, we're telling the feds to do that. Well, I can tell you the feds are not doing that, because I was the one who said I had the information about the French Foreign Legion being on the ground the day that Charlie was assassinated. And the feds have not reached out to me. So shouldn't that concern Erika? Shouldn't she be like, hey, why didn't you reach out to me and say, like, you know, hey, I'd like the information if no one's reached out to you? Like, why is that not happening? This is what I mean when I say that the reaction doesn't feel to the public as what we, and yeah, I'm generalizing here because there is such a thing as a general response, what we would do in the same circumstance. Like, we would be like, whoa, even if I trusted the feds and I trusted my legal team and trusted their analysis that there was just one person involved, as soon as some podcaster was like, hey, I found Egyptian planes and they're being kind of shady, I would be like, whoa,
Tell me
that is
everything.
weird.
Yeah.
What's up with these Egyptian planes?
Yeah.
They're just making jokes. That there's something not right with.
And they don't want us to know. They don't want to share information. Did you notice that? They don't want to share information. They're not saying, not only are they not giving information, but they're refusing to receive information. They're not going, hey, Candace, why don't you share with us that information and let's see what we can do with it. They're like, stay out. Everybody stay out. It's like going to some teen's room or whatever, and you try to get, oh, this is just the example that came to mind, going to somebody's room and they're doing something they shouldn't be. I mean, aside from privacy, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, and they're like, no, keep out, or, you know, something like that. It's like, no, they don't want anything coming in. They don't want anything going out. They want to keep it in a silo. Always bad news, always.
That, like, making jokes about something that if you should be concerned at the very least about, even if it turned out that it led nowhere, which it has not turned out that it led nowhere. It actually led somewhere and it's been confirmed. Why are you not concerned? I just need an answer for why they are never concerned. Meryl Gerstenmeyer writes, it seems to me Erika's moral outrage is manufactured more for an elite target audience as opposed to those normal folks who want to solve the actual murder.
Yeah.
It does feel, I would say it feels elite. I don't have time for the little people. Okay. I don't have time for, you know, your small pocket donors. I got time, but like, it's going to be spent with power. It's going to be spent in the West Wing. It's going to be spent raising $40 million at Mar-a-Lago. When we say building, what we mean is like a financial arsenal. And it's easier to appease people who are billionaires than to build a grassroots movement. That's what Turning Point USA was. It's not anymore, clearly, but it was a grassroots organization. That was the pitch. That was why I worked for them. The idea that you could get on the ground when nobody knew us, nobody knew me and Charlie, and we could get on stage and we could convince people of what we believed in. Okay. Every conversation mattered. In those times, every debate mattered. Every feeling that a person had, even if it was valid or not valid, it mattered. And now we get the sense that this is the RNC. So if you ain't spending for a table, you ain't getting a response, okay? Because we busy. We very busy. H. Biz writes, who was the woman in the pickup truck? I don't know who the woman was in the pickup truck, but you're referring to what Harry, I mean, Harry thinks he has an idea and he should come out and he should share his story. I would be interested to see if he is, like I said, I can tell you he was factually there, that the meeting happened now exactly as he said it happened at exactly what time he says it happened. I cannot confirm his own eyes. I can't confirm his memory of who he believes he saw. We can't confirm that it was Brian Harpole. We can't, you know, was it a Brian Harpole lookalike? Do a lot of military men look the same? He is certain he saw Brian Harpole. Give him time to come out and tell his story. Servant of Yahweh writes, who was the young woman in the Candlewood Suites Hotel with the special
If he
ops
makes it
guy?
that long.
They left in the green truck on September 8th. If you or anyone you know works at that hotel and has that security footage, please get it to Candace before it gets deleted. I would imagine if he is right, that footage is deleted. But that would still be a clue if it was deleted. So yeah, if you work for the Candlewood Suites Hotel at the military base, could you check that footage, please, for us on September 8th? More tips at CandaceOwens.com is who you can send that tip to. What you do and staying at the Candlewood Suites Hotel. Sorry, that's an old hip hop song. I'm out of control. I'm sorry, guys. This is a new strand of Candace 19. And it's resistant. It is
It's
absolutely resistant, even to the vax. So anyways, you guys, we're going to keep going, Max. And
Okay.
I am going to keep on this, see what comes of this. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Bye, Candace. Okay. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, I was wondering what her response would be, and if she would say, "Okay, well, I said I was going to do this unless Erika said stop," and Erika said stop. So we'll see. And now we'll see the next step of how Erika says stop. My guess. Well, I have a lot of different ideas, but we'll see. But I was going to tell you guys. Okay, so if you didn't see yesterday's show, I was talking to you about redacted news, and they had reported that 1,000 U.S. pastors were sent to Israel for training. And I found a video today about that as I was researching this trip to Israel, what it's all about, and that I would love in some way, if there was some way somehow, to get names of people who attend. I'm sure they don't advertise that, but I would love to get my hands on that because I would not go to that church. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to do video file here. Okay, here it is.
We're going to train 100,000 Christian ambassadors to be ambassadors in their own country for the state of Israel, to defend Israel's brand and to combat anti-Semitism. Now, the beautiful part about this is we're partnering with Blackboard. Blackboard is the largest platform in the world, serving Harvard, Yale, all the major universities. The vice president of Blackboard is here. It's a $2.3 billion company. Would you stand, please? Would you give him a hand?
I was going to make this bigger for you guys. I'll do it. I'll do it tonight and then play it again tomorrow. But there's BB and his wife.
Using adaptive learning technology. So we'll train these wonderful Christian evangelicals so that they can fulfill what I am doing for the state of Israel. Secondly, we're creating FOSI, an online academy to train tens of millions of evangelicals. The power of the evangelical muscle is enormous.
Tens of millions. Let me see. Okay, good. I want to be bigger here. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can make myself. Hold on, bear with me. Okay.
It represents almost 1 billion people, but no one ever harnessed it. And we're doing that here. We're creating the first evangelical think tank, the first evangelical research institute, so the state of Israel will know who they are and how they can contribute to the state of Israel. We're, of course, a social network campus and much more. So that's exciting for us. The second thing I want to announce is that
a social network campus.
Our Friends of Zion Museum, we are going to build the Donald Trump exhibition. No president in American history has done more for the state of Israel than Donald Trump.
Agreed. Agreed.
The media center
guys
is
hear
indeed
this?
a gift
Okay.
to Israel. You can use it, Ambassador Friedman. You can use it for any event you want for the foreign ministry, etc., because we are doing this all for Israel. It's all about Israel.
It's all about Israel. Is that wild? That's crazy. So this is what happened this past week. 1,000 pastors, and those are their goals. And they're flat out. They're just saying, they're just telling us exactly what's going to happen and what's happening in our country right now. Anyway, okay. As I said, I had more material that I had wanted to share with you. Candace caught me completely off guard, going live as soon as she did, because I really had predicted she was going to be late, and I was actually counting on that. But anyway, I have more material to share with you tomorrow. So I want your opinion. Okay, so when we go on at 4, we don't get as many people here as, which is kind of a good thing. We don't want it like as busy as Candace says, obviously, then we can't chat like this. But it seemed like a lot of people, a good handful, or a dozen or so people liked it at the later time. So here's what I was thinking. I was wondering about watching Candace, watching her show, and then doing a live after that, so we can recap and go over that and go over material. Or if you'll like doing some stuff at the beginning, sharing information and material that I've collected and thoughts on that, watching her show, and then talking a little bit more after. So anyways, if you have any ideas, or I'm open to hear that too. So anyway, I'm so excited. I didn't know it was going to happen, what Candace was going to say. So we're going to still keep going. Max, I guess. All right. And that was a crappy meeting. All of those pastors, obviously we don't know about everyone and if they wanted to go, but Cisco had said, what a crappy meeting. I wonder if everyone wanted to be there. It's voluntary. So my guess is they all want to be there. And there are a lot of pastors who are brainwashed in Christian Zionism. Like it's, I've been learning about all this and the origins and all of that, and it's pretty insane. So it's a newer concept, it's a newer word, but there's a lot that's been happened that has happened that has brainwashed them, and they grow up in churches, and it really does say and teach to support Israel no matter what, that it's God's chosen, they're God's chosen people and all of this, and we all know that's not the truth. But it takes people time to wake up, and it takes people willing to do what we're doing and utilizing social media in a positive way that will wake people up and spread truth. So that's what we want to keep doing. And voluntary often means it'll be noticed who's there and who isn't. Yes. Yeah, it's voluntary, but if you don't go and if you don't support, you're not going to be a pastor, right? So, and a lot of pastors really, really love what they do. They want to shepherd people and, be leaders like that. But anyways, I'm going to keep digging and see what else I can find about this convention that happens. But I appreciate you being here. And what I'm going to go over tomorrow is I've been looking at, you know how they say the FBI is not going to advertise their strategy and they're not going to share with us the investigation. Well, there are plenty of investigations, high profile cases and investigations where the states in charge of the investigation and the FBI and the agencies involved have kept us in the loop. They've kept us informed plenty over the years. So I'm gathering a list of that to talk about too. So again, I'll go on tomorrow, and I'm not sure if a half hour is enough to cover things beforehand, but I'm still trying to figure it out and try to get my groove and you know, figure out how things work best. But I appreciate you being here. Miss seeing you yesterday, Cisco, and I look forward to seeing you all again, even the people who haven't been involved in the chat. But yeah, I enjoy going live. I prefer that over making videos just by myself. So anyways, I do appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow. See you soon. Bye.